Talk about
Yeah,
it.
5 minutes ago.
Good morning. Cliff,
Good
don't make it
morning,
awkward.
everyone. Well, normally the producer gives me some sign.
We're
But
on.
be
How about the
slower.
TV came on and our faces were there?
Yeah.
I'm never sure what that means. But anyway, welcome to the Dawn Patrol, everyone. I'm Cliff Krieger, your host, Eileen Delrossi, over there by that humongous pink water jug.
Wait,
is
did you
my
call me the
co-host.
host? Because it was the Eileen Delrossi show for like 20 minutes on Monday. My co-host?
How did you do on Monday?
We did good.
All right.
But let's introduce our guest.
And we have with us
Let's see if he
David
gets it in there. Let's see. Let's test him.
Prestipino.
Prestipino.
All right. So, what part of Italy is your family from?
You know something? All over the place. I'm a bunch of different nationalities. Believe it or not, I look like I could be part of the Sopranos, but I have a lot of Irish in me too, Cliff. A lot of Irish. So, Ireland,
yeah.
Sicily is the main part.
Sicily.
If you were to ask, but there's, I got a little bit of everything in me.
Yeah, let's see if Sicily comes up today. What part of Italy are you from, Eileen?
Southern.
Yeah, see,
I've never
not a
been.
European.
Yeah. Wait, I don't even have a passport. So,
So the U.S. national
Southern
debt
Italy.
is 37.205 trillion. That means since Monday it's gone up $20 billion.
wait, it doesn't say 37.205 on your agenda here
I know, because I printed the agenda
last night.
and, well, I tried and failed. But anyway, I didn't revise it when I finally got the printer working.
So basically, what you're saying is that it's gone up 20 billion. So $1,000 million homes is $1 billion. So the national debt has gone up by 20,000 $1 million homes that fast.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It's
That's
impressive.
impressive how your brain thinks like that.
The temperature outside is 59. It's going all the way up to 82, partly cloudy. And in 1588, in the Anglo-Spanish War, the Battle of Gravelines, it's the naval engagement that ends the Spanish Armada attempt to invade England. And that's how you got all the Spanish blood in Ireland, because what was left of the Spanish Armada tried to sail up around Scotland, and a bunch of them crashed into Ireland.
Wow. Very interesting.
1844, the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, headed by Brigham Young, is reaffirmed as the leading body of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or LDS.
Can you break that down into English?
All right, Brigham Young
Okay, got it.
was
One of
was
12.
the head of 12 apostles,
Okay.
which was the leading body of the church, the Mormons. How about that? Can you handle Mormon?
Yeah, I get that. Did he ever knock on your door, Brigham Young? He was around your time, 1844?
No, but
Love
he
it.
was in New York.
Love it.
New York.
This probably happened in Ohio. In 1863, in the American Civil War, following his defeat at the Battle of Gettysburg, General Robert E. Lee sent a letter of resignation to the Confederate President Jefferson Davis, which President Davis refused.
Want to hear something interesting about Robert E. Lee? He went through all of his schooling and never got one demerit. Not one. That's an amazing accomplishment.
It
Think
is.
about that.
Demerit like behavior?
Like,
or like.
no, like even if your bed had a wrinkle in it the wrong way, they could give you like a little infraction for it. Robert E. Lee essentially went through as perfect he could be, as far as we know,
Right.
right? He may be the only person that's ever done that in the history of our military schools.
What about Cliff?
Oh,
Did you get demerits, Cliff?
I got demerits.
For what?
See?
Let's
See, Cliff
talk
got the
about it.
merits. Cliff isn't perfect.
Uniform issues. And besides, they wanted to make sure I walked at least one punishment tour.
And let me ask
50 minutes marching back and forth with your rifle.
let me ask you a question, Cliff. They're tearing down the Robert E. Lee statues and everything. That's part of American history.
Yeah?
What are your thoughts on that? I don't think a Robert E. Lee statue should be torn down because it's part of our country.
I agree.
I don't think any statue that is part of our history that tells us where we came from and how we've developed as a nation should be taken down, whether it be a positive or a negative. That's just where I stand.
You're talking Cliff now.
We're talking Cliff. There we go. Maybe Cliff and I get to know each other pretty good.
Yeah. Tearing down statues is,
It's taking away education.
yeah. And we need more instead of less.
Yep.
Not everything you learn when you're young turns out to be true when you're older. When I was 10 years old, Woodrow Wilson was a hero. Now we know better. He wasn't a hero. He did some good things. He did some bad things. So I think that it's about learning about your history. And you can see the lack of learning when you hear people talk about slavery as though it started in Virginia in the late 1600s.
Hence your motion that you sent for me to submit for school committee, that kids learn the accurate history.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, are people so ignorant that they don't know that slavery had been around for a long time?
The good thing is that we no longer have it,
Yeah.
and we're learning from
Well,
it.
except in Africa. But if people were paying attention to the second reading last Sunday, Paul talks about slave or free, or maybe it was free or slave. But there it was, second reading. So, yeah, that Robert E. Lee was a gentleman. He ended the Civil War by surrendering at Appomattox to Ulysses S.
Courthouse.
Grant.
Yep.
And he could have kept it going, killed more young American men, incidentally killing civilians as it went along. I mean, I've heard a story about Robert E. Lee after the war. So he's in church, Episcopal church, as I recall, in Richmond, Virginia, and there was a black man there. And when it came time for communion, the black man stood up to go up. Nobody moved. And Robert E. Lee stood up and stood next to his fellow Christian, and they both received communion.
Amen.
I mean, that's so there's a guy who had some integrity. Did he pick the wrong side? Yeah, but what the heck? People are picking the wrong side today.
Huh?
Gavin Newsom is trying to follow the lead of Jefferson Davis in his relationship with the federal government. It's not a good thing. Well, on a slightly happier note, something I always associate with school teachers, in 1876, Thomas Edison receives a patent for a mimeograph machine.
Mimeograph.
Mimeograph.
Define.
Yeah, I'm like, what is a mimeograph?
That's where you type out a stencil and you run it through a machine and you make copy after copy after copy. Before we had Xerox.
Mimeograph. I get it.
Yeah.
Mimeo. All right.
All right.
All right.
1918, World War I, the Battle of Mainz begins a string of continuous Allied victories with a push through the German front lines, the 100-day offensive. And then the war's over. Boy, that war killed a lot of people. 1946, first flight of the nuclear-capable Convair B-36, heaviest mass-produced piston-engine aircraft of the time. And in 1974, you all are too young to remember this, in a nationwide television address, Richard Nixon announces his resignation from the office of the President of the United States, effective noon the next day.
Now he's getting to our time areas now. Into the 90s.
Yeah, so you'll notice, like,
Yeah.
we go through current events, and then we go into births and deaths. Like, we go up and down, just like being Irish Catholic.
1990, Iraq occupies Kuwait, and and Kuwait is annexed to Iraq, which would lead to the Gulf War. In 2022, the Federal Bureau of Investigation executes a search warrant on former President Donald Trump's residence in Mar-a-Lago in Palm Beach, Florida.
We're in the in the 20, and we're in the 2000s now.
Yeah. And in 2023, the Hawaiian wildfires. And 101 people were killed on the island of Maui.
Cliff, the FBI storming Melania's underwear drawer. Had that ever happened? Had the FBI done that to other people? Presidents?
No,
Senators?
Can you imagine that?
maybe.
That's despicable.
So,
And
It really
now,
is.
and now, Tulsi Gabbard is releasing the information they were looking for.
Now there's somebody that's really interested, Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of hers. What party is she at now? Does she flip-flop parties, right?
Well, she may be declines to state, but she definitely gave up being a Democrat.
One thing I like about her is she's boots on the ground. I know friends that have met her, and she's been everywhere, and she's beautiful too. She's definitely beautiful. That's a
My
smart too, very smart.
What's her name?
my cousin out
Tulsi
in
Gabbard,
Hawaii
she's
knows
unbelievable.
Tulsi
She
Gabbard's
could
father.
be the next president of the United States. There's somebody who has a real chance. She's got a following, and she's a United States veteran. What hurt her is she's out of Hawaii, and she didn't get the recognition. Now she's getting it.
Yeah. Well, the other thing that hurt her was she was a Democrat and had common sense.
Yeah, I don't follow parties. Being a Democrat, being a Republican, nowadays I don't think that means anything. I think just be an American, vote for who you like, say what you want, just enjoy your life. That's what this country's built on.
People are going to try and make parties even more relevant
Well-
in Massachusetts with one of the ballot initiatives, which
Yep.
would give us a California-like primary in which it's not the top in each party, but it's the top two.
Cliff,
I
I
just think it's time for people to say, hey.
want to
who cares
remind you,
about a
Cliff,
party
that
line?
if I win Powerball, I'm going to sue the state for paying for preliminary party elections, and I'll win. It's not constitutional that we're paying for party elections. We should not be paying. Nobody gets elected on primary day. Why do we pay for that election? To make the party, well, we always have been.
Well,
That's the
actually-
excuse.
Actually, some people get elected on primary day.
Isn't
If
it?
there's no
Never mind,
opponents.
Cliff, never
but
mind. Never mind. Please turn the page. I'm done.
I'm,
Can I bring something up totally off
Good
topic,
luck.
but
Yeah.
kind of?
Awesome.
Okay. Caroline Levitt,
Yeah.
the press secretary, she's married to this guy, Nick, who used to rent property on Hampton Beach on M Street. I find that very interesting because we used to rent from Nick. So I feel connected to Caroline Levitt.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
Well, he's a lot older than her.
Hampton.
in
Isn't he a lot
19...
older than her?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, now he not only he does real estate and he also owns a restaurant up in New Hampshire as well. Yeah, but that's where they met, because she's from New Hampshire.
I
Good.
found out last night that forever I have confused the former governor of New Hampshire, Harry Styles Bridges, with the former trade union guy out on the West Coast, Harry Bridges.
I don't know either one of them.
Are you talking about the bridges?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna have some fun with you today, Cliff. That's definitely gonna happen. We're gonna have some fun. In a good way.
Bridges was a Aussie
Was he?
who went to, ended up with cases in the Supreme Court twice.
Hey, Cliff, who gets elected on primary day?
Someone who has no opponent.
Actually makes sense.
But it doesn't matter
They're not on the
until,
ballot.
Okay.
I mean, if they don't have an opponent, they're gonna slide right
David,
through
my
it
whole
anyway.
point is we pay for an election, no one gets elected. And Cliff, oh yes, we elected Tom the Fly.
Exactly. That's a waste of taxpayer money, right?
Why do it should be sudden death?
Yeah, it should be. You're absolutely right. I can't believe that we pay taxes for people to run for primaries.
Because we always have. That's how we do
unbelievable.
it.
That doesn't make any sense to me at all. Why
So-
should we be paying for anybody to run for anything?
So you get someone elected who got 37% of the vote. That doesn't look very good to me. Anyway, on a positive note, in 1938, Connie Stevens was born.
American actress and businesswoman.
Yeah,
Lovely voice.
And no, none of these people are dead yet, so we're looking up already.
I
yeah.
think Connie Stevens is gone.
Cliff didn't add her death.
Maybe
I'll ask
she's-
Google.
Google?
Ask Google. In 1961, Ron Klain was born, American lawyer and politician. He was the White House Chief of Staff under President Biden. And today is International Cat Day.
Meow.
What can I say?
Hey, before we go on into this, can we ask our guest, like, who he is, where he's from, what he does?
Go ahead.
Dave Prestipino, born and raised in the Mill City of Lowell, Massachusetts. I left for a while and I came back. I've been in the automobile business
Where'd
for
you go?
years. Yeah, Walpole, Mass.
Okay.
Yeah, for a while. A little time in New Hampshire. And moved around, but I've been back in the city for about 6-7 years. And I love this city. I grew up here as a child. I watched our city get decimated by unemployment when Wang Towers went down, Lowell High and Crack Street came. I watched it all. And watching the rebuild has been amazing. The assimilation of the Cambodian culture and everything that has just happened. And Eileen, this is where I'm dying. I won't leave it. I love it here.
Me too.
Connie
Unfortunate.
Stevens is alive and well, living,
Hey!
assisted living.
Assisted living. There we go.
Well, see, hopefully don't have any nudes come up here, but that's
Oh, look at her.
Connie Stevens.
Look at that.
Long
right, so-
bombshell.
When I walked in, I was like, I feel like I'm meeting someone famous because I see all your Facebook posts. Can you tell me what that's about?
Well, you know, I started on TikTok. And
TikTok.
and it started blowing up. Then it's moved over to Instagram, and that's blowing up. And the Rise and Shines is, I'm not really technically savvy. Most of them I was launching on Instagram, and they were going over on the Facebook. I kind of wanted to not have that part on Facebook, but the Facebook
Can you
is
explain
local.
what your like rise and shines are? Like what's it about?
Well, it's kind of a hook. It's a shock. But Rise and Shine is the mission statement. It's always getting better. It's motivational, too. So when I say Rise and Shine in the curse word, I say something motivational. And then Goifa means get off your blink, you know, right there. So it's a little controversial. It is. Facebook, I use Facebook for being local. I'm not trying to be like a social media guy on Facebook, but I was born and raised in this city, and we have a few blocks in this city, Eileen, that are just decimated. And, you know, I started walking about 9 months ago, 10 months ago, around the South Common in areas. And everybody was saying it's a homeless problem. And I'm a pretty smart person. I'm what a lot of people would say highly functioning. I have difficulties in some area, but my brain works pretty well in other areas.
Autism level 1. I'm pretty sure
Okay,
everyone
all right.
has it.
Okay, all right, so you know. If you know, you know. But I found out quickly it's not a homeless problem. It's a drug problem. And, if at first I was a bleeding heart, which I still am, but everybody was saying, oh, they're not helping me. Now, let me tell you something. You guys might disagree, but our politicians here in the city of Lowell have been doing an unbelievable job. And the proof's in the pudding. The homeless has been cut in half in our city in the last 15 to 18 months. But the drugs haven't. And if we keep treating this just like it's a homeless problem, it's going to keep ramping up and coming back. Like behind the Dutton Street, the tents are already coming back. On the river, the tents are already coming back. And when the city of Lowell decided to get the tent out of the city, you got to remember, that's just a spot for the cartel to hide their drugs. That's why the homeless population went down dramatically. And so I started walking around. I started noticing this is a extreme fentanyl and meth issue. And it's not only tearing the people down that are using it, more importantly, this isn't the drugs from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. What fentanyl is doing, Eileen, it's tearing everything around the people that are using it down. And the proof's in the pudding. So we've made a lot of progress, but there's a lot more work that has to happen.
Listen.
There are still people sleeping in doorways, which we can't have. 9 out of 10 of those people are refusing services. I just drove, Randy's over there, he came with me, but we just drove by, and you probably saw the video and all the poop in the door,
No, I didn't.
right, on
actually.
Appleton Street, and the gentleman is still sleeping in the door, and the next door he uses as a bathroom. That is, it's hard to watch, and it's sad, but it's unsanitary, and why isn't that person accepting help? And when I walk around and I interview people that are addicted to drugs and local residents, it's become very, 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 it's right out there. This is a drug war, and there's only about 3 or 4 blocks left. The other half of downtown's been cleaned up. A lot of our neighborhoods I grew up in have been extremely cleaned up. So this isn't a crap on Lowell moment. This is a celebrating Lowell. What can we do? The politicians are doing a great job. And I get all this feedback. We need to change this politician, that politician, that politician. No, but what we need to do is we need to make awareness of it and keep it right in front of people's faces, because I'm here because of a couple of the videos. I just went into the Bishop Markham building, and I will be addressing the Lowell City Council on August 12 about this. And I used to run the EMS system, Eileen, in 4 towns in Massachusetts. I was a field supervisor.
Wow.
One being Lawrence, Massachusetts, Drake, Massachusetts, Marlborough and Hudson, Massachusetts. I couldn't begin to tell you how many overdoses I've been on. And the saddest thing you hear after an overdose, after you give them the Narcan, and they do this little blink and they jump up, what happened? And you say, well, you just overdosed and you were dead. And it's sad, because I'd say 9 out of 10 look at you right in the eye and say, why didn't you let me die? And these are people's kids, these are families, these are parents. There's a demon out there called fentanyl. And Cliff, fentanyl has killed more people in our country than World War I, World War II, the Vietnam War, the Gulf War, and at this point, AIDS.
Yeah.
So we need measures to be taken place. The socialistic approach that we've had over the last 30, 40 years is failing. Right across, 200 yards across the way here, at the Elliott Church, people are handing out needles. I don't think we should be handing needles out anymore, because there's a school here and there are children. And when you have 125,000 people a year dying from fentanyl overdoses, and everybody's saying, well, people could get AIDS. And from 1980 to 1990, only 480 died from AIDS. As comparison, it's a shame that people died from AIDS. Please don't take the way I talk as non-empathetic. I think it's time for us to slow down the socialistic approach, and it's time to start giving tough love, because the communities around the addiction of meth and fentanyl are destroying the communities, not only the people taking them. And it's
Yeah.
People are losing children. All you have to do, Eileen, is try this drug one time. So John pointed something out to me.
I have
The
an
six-
addictive personality, so. no.
Yeah. If you tried it, you probably wouldn't be sitting here Mondays and Fridays. I can guarantee you that.
But can I tell you one thing is, my son goes to school in Newton, and it's the best thing for him because, we come home and we play Let's Count the Crackheads and Jay's Variety. And it's just sad. And this is how I talk to him about never doing drugs and all of that. But it is destroying our community as a whole. It's bringing our property values and our school systems down. Well, I don't know about property values because everything's so expensive today. But, I mean,
Well, forget about the property values. How about the values?
Yeah.
You're walking around and you're showing them, let's count the crackheads, right? But, what about the children that are here that don't have two parents, that are just watching this, and this is learned behavior?
Yeah.
What about the children of this school that's only 50 yards across the street that are they're too close to the desperation?
Yeah.
I mean, now, an 87-year-old woman just got attacked at Bishop Markham, 300 meters from here, thrown down to the ground so somebody who's addicted to drugs can get into the building to buy drugs. There are no security in these buildings. So what I figured out on having boots on the ground is ground zero is Bishop Markham. There are no cameras in the common ways, right? Drug addicts are getting in the building. They're intimidating elderly. They're intimidating the disabled people. There are multiple units slinging fentanyl and meth out of the Bishop Markham buildings. That is ground zero, which is why on one side of Bishop Markham you have South Common Park littered with addiction, and across the street on the other side you have Jay's Variety with a bunch of addicts that are addicted. So ground zero is Bishop Markham. Now the police won't tell you that because when they show up, everybody scatters. They have a police precinct over there, but it's not effective. What will be effective is cameras in the doorways, cameras in the hallways, cameras in the common ways. And, it's common sense when you see the same people go in and out of an apartment 50, 60, 70 times a day. Okay, there are drugs in that building. That's how you cleanse ground zero.
and you know what I don't understand is I often use Jay's Variety as a cut through to the connector or when
Yeah.
I'm coming here. Like, some mornings, I would say once a week, there's a cop car sitting there and you don't see anybody out. But why isn't that happening more often? Would be common sense, right? And position one over at Bishop Markham too. I mean, you have the staff. I mean, it's just about positioning and when, I would think.
It's absolutely about positioning, and it's absolutely about becoming educated too. I got to tell you something. We have an unbelievable superintendent that if the city leaders would let him do his job, right? Our superintendent right now is as good or greater than Ed Davis was for our city. His name is Greg Hudon. And if the city leaders would let him do his job, that area could be really, really cleaned up.
What's an example?
What's an example?
Wait,
Or it's
wait,
Cliff
wait,
Show. It's
wait.
Cliff Show.
I've got
Oh, I'm
two
sorry.
thoughts.
Yeah.
My first thought is that.
Good morning, Corey Robinson. Corey for Lowell, boots on the ground, unbelievable politician for our city.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. And has the panel ever watched the movie 1917 from Jay?
All right, Cliff,
I
we're
have.
going
No.
to stay quiet. It's your show.
I haven't. No, I just wanted to make a comment and then push back a little bit on one thing you said. My comment is, deep down inside, I think that fentanyl and all of this being pushed is payback from China for
Right.
the
I remember
opium
you were
wars.
saying that it's coming from China.
That's
They're doing
why
this.
I call it a drug war.
Yeah.
You're absolutely correct, right? And I don't agree with everything Mr. Trump is doing, but I do agree with the way he is fighting the drug war. And there are communities pushing back at him, and they're using politics. And this has nothing to do with politics. These are families, everybody around in the communities are being destroyed. This isn't a Republican thing. This is not a Democratic thing. This is an American thing that's a pandemic.
But it's, like John, I've been on the Homeless Commission when we were a continuum of care. I was on the panel managing the continuum of care. So I guess I've been at this 15 or 20 years. I'm of the opinion that the politicians in Massachusetts are fundamentally incapable of fixing this problem.
I don't think that's true.
See, I think that the way that it's set up with these spin dries, where they send somebody for a few days or a week and then expect them to have a come to Jesus moment and, just be okay and not following through with services for them. I think the way that they set the system up is making it fail. And
The system is broken. It's very socialistic. But as far as the politicians, they can change. If you
can.
put it in their face, they can make changes. So I'm not going to sit here and crap on the politicians. I'm going to sit here and ask the politicians to open their eyes to what's really happening, right? Because I'm not going to sit here and make this a political thing. I'm going to sit here and make this a let's help people, right? And yes, politics is involved, but putting it in their face is how you do change.
Politics is involved in this in that the progressives.
There's no audio on this, but this
Oh,
is,
they're watching this right now?
David made a video yesterday at the Bishop Markham, and to see how, this is what it looks like over there.
That is all feces, urine, that is feces that I'm stepping around right there. And every corner, right, there are thousands and thousands. You can see the urine stained walls. Now, I ran the EMS system in 4 towns in Massachusetts, one being Lawrence. I've been on well-being checks. I've smelled dead bodies. I've smelled some of the most horrible stuff, right? And I have no recollection of myself ever gagging. And I started gagging and trying not to throw up in those doorways, in those hallways, John. That is unacceptable living. That's unacceptable. I wouldn't want my pet to live there.
now, who's responsible for the upkeep?
You know something? I
Would
don't
it
know.
be DPW or?
No, Lowell Housing Authority.
So it's the Lowell Housing Authority right there?
Yeah, he's the guy who,
Yep.
we love you because you have jobs for our friends.
One thing about me, John, is, right, I'll put it out there. I don't know all the technical stuff, but what I know is I know the law of the land, I know people, and I know that right there is completely wrong.
You can bet your bottom dollar.
They should be
He's getting a
forced to
text.
live there.
The guy who runs this is getting a text right now.
They should be forced to live there, right? The people that are running this, right? People should go to jail who are getting money to be paid to run these buildings. There are people in there, John, they're so afraid to even talk, right? They won't even call the police because, like, see that room right there? You seeing it right there? That is permanently locked. That used to be a common room for all the disabled and the elderly to hang out. It's locked. Look down into that sink. Underneath that sink, that's diarrhea at the bottom of that. There are flies all over the place, right? People's grandparents have to do the laundry in the room. There are usually needles in there. All the tenants told me, because there was a couple days after the attack, they actually got in there and did a little bit, which makes me even madder and angrier. They got the needles out of the building that were littered in the hallways. That's Joan Doobie, 87 years old, right? They scanned their card. She didn't want to let somebody in the building, and she was thrown to the ground violently. You should see the bruises. I got the pictures. And you know what really, really angers me? Right? They let the attacker out. The attacker's walking the streets right now, right? And so,
Is he an illegal alien?
and no. It's a woman. It doesn't matter if it's a legal alien or not a legal alien. A woman was thrown to the ground, right?
Yeah.
That area needs
but
security.
when
I'm
you
not
said
making
they
this
would
about
let
illegal
out-
aliens. I'm not making about all of this stuff, Cliff. I'm making this about our downtown, our city of Lowell, our people, right? 300 yards from where we're speaking right now, people are terrified. They're in horror to speak up, because if they do speak up, right? There are no cameras in those buildings. There are no protections. They are living in complete fear. They're living in filth, right? And this is the United States of America, right? What is going on here, right? What is going on? I don't care if it's an illegal alien, if it's not an illegal alien. A woman was thrown to the ground. A person. We're all people.
Right.
And you know something? If you want to get into the legal alien discussion, I'll get into it. But right now, right, I'm all about fixing ground zero, right, of a part of Lowell, Massachusetts. There are probably at least a dozen apartments that are slinging drugs out of those buildings
So-
and supplying and bringing that entire area down.
Can I ask a question? So
Yeah, absolutely.
Bishop Markham, the purpose of it, was it for like true homeless or veterans? What was the main purpose for that building?
So Bishop Markham, just call it like a projects, call it Lowell Housing Authority, but it's mainly was for retirees.
Retirees, that's it.
And now disabled, and now they're putting families in there too, right? So,
They're smeshing it.
yep, but there
Schmeshing
are
it.
mostly retirees and elderly and disabled people in that building, right? Now, I watch people pull up to these doors with wheelchairs, and they have to scan a card, right? Now, if you're in a wheelchair and
Truly
a
disabled.
couple of scary individuals walk up to you, and they're going to walk in that building, what are you going to do? You're going to live in fear, and you're going to let them in. They don't have any protection over there. Eileen, these people are living in absolute horror and fear over there.
Well-
And they're afraid to speak up because they know that if they speak up, there'll be repercussions. We're looking at 1950 mafia-style fear. There's no
Yeah.
protection over there. Go ahead.
So what I was just going to say is we had Rita Mercier on too.
God bless Rita Mercy. She's
And-
a sweetheart.
And she was saying, like, there's no problem with people who are truly homeless or can't afford, or the retired and the veterans. But when you smesh them together with the addicted, it doesn't go. So there has to be a way
Absolutely.
to separate all of that out. And Corey Robinson for Centerville just wrote in, Lowell Housing Authority is responsible for the maintenance and the upkeep of their buildings, and the city is not responsible. Thank you, Corey.
Thank you, Corey, but you know what? Our city leaders and our government is responsible to put their feet into the fire,
Well-
right? Because these are our citizens. And I'll tell you something, Corey Roberts is a great guy. This guy will get, I can't swear, this guy will get off his butt and he'll do it, right? And we got, this is a man right here who loves his city of Lowell too.
Right, and
So
Corey,
don't take this as a negativity.
can I take,
Just read these two, Eileen, that I
all
can clear
right,
the screen.
every city councilor should be ashamed of themselves for those conditions. Will any of them call in to explain this? Jay, I'm sure Corey will. A hat tip to Mr. Prestipino for shedding the light on this issue. He cares more about the citizens than the manager.
That's
And
not true. The city manager we have,
Oh, yes,
Tom
it
Golden, is
is.
a great
Let's
city
not-
manager.
It's a hot button topic.
This is a hot button topic. I will defend Tom Golden all day,
David,
all night.
David,
Right?
David.
I understand where you guys are coming
David, you
from.
can't use that word.
Oh, did I say a word? Bad word?
Yes.
I did? Okay.
What word?
I will defend Tom Golden all day, all night.
Okay, I will sit on the other side of the table.
And
He's
let's
the
debate
worst city
this.
manager we ever had.
Why?
Excuse me, can we get off this topic
Okay.
and back to
We'll
housing?
get back on it, John.
Because there are fundamental issues involved.
Next time, David.
There are fundamental issues involved.
Can the city put sanctions on LHA, right? Or the city councilors, right? Something to
Something
hold
needs
them
to be done.
accountable.
Something needs
Because
to be done.
LHA wouldn't,
Should be abolished.
it should, maybe, but it
Because we're
shouldn't be
going the
able,
wrong direction.
it shouldn't be able to run if it's
Remember when I
not
told you
taking care
about
of
the
their
book?
business.
The poor side of town? Before we had public housing, we had people who worked their way up and became well enough off that they could buy a small property and they would prosper. And then we went with these projects because we thought that was the solution. It's not the solution. It just adds to the problem, which is why I say that the politicians are not capable of solving this because their mindset is in the wrong place.
I think you're right about that. And I think that the mindset of the people of Lowell have been in the wrong place because this government's run by the people, right? I'm not in politics, and I'm starting to make a difference. You got to remember something. There are some people that need to get off their butts and join the fight, right? Because
Yeah.
when these people see cop cars and they see politicians come around, they scatter. But they don't scatter to the everyday Joe, which is why I want to organize, some things for the citizens to get together to help our communities. Churches help communities. Why can't local citizens? This is why we're here now. I mean, you care. I can see right now that you really, really care, right? This isn't to bash the city councilors.
But
A lot of
part
them
the-
really didn't know how bad the conditions are inside that building, because we're human beings. It's a big city. We can't get around everywhere. But it's what they do from here on. Their actions will judge how good they are.
But one of the problems is, and you touched on it, is not being interested in politics. I discussed this with my grandson, who's up here in Lowell once in a while, and he says he's not interested in politics. But Tolstoy, I think, said it, except he was talking about war, but he says, you may not be interested in war or politics, but war or politics is interested in you.
Yes.
It encompasses
Yeah,
everything.
you're-
I never would
yep. I
consider
agree with
myself like a politician,
Right.
but I
No
got
way.
to a point
Right. You just
where
told me
probably
something.
like Dave and you got is like our system's broken. I saw what it was
Well,
like
that's where
working for
Rita
Lowell,
comes from.
Lowell Public Schools, what I went through with my son and struggling for his services. And finally, I mean, if I could think to bring an air conditioner to my son's classroom, a stand-up one, why can't the city think of it? And like, let the kids go to school. You know what I mean? So there's a breaking point for everybody, right? I feel like. Are
Yeah.
you going to run for?
I have no
Anything?
plans of anything right now. Not right now. Right now, I have a lot going on in my life. That's another story, that we could talk about later. But until those things are settled, then there'll be a conversation down the road. And right now,
You're doing a great job.
yeah,
You know,
right now I think I got more value just doing my walks. And as John has pointed out, maybe slowing down the swears a little bit. I get a little passionate, everybody. It's just who I am. I've got a lot of, I'm pretty hot-tempered.
Irish and
So,
Italian, I
we have
admire
just
that.
spent 45 minutes talking to everyone except Lowell.
We did talk to Lowell.
That's all we've been talking about. is
Oh,
about Lowell.
oh, yeah, because we're not on in Lowell until 7.
Oh, okay.
So what I'd like to do
But
is-
everybody cares.
I'd like-
And I watch this on YouTube. We can all watch it on Facebook or YouTube. Don't tell me Lowell people aren't watching the Dawn Patrol.
Yeah, hey, we got one of the city councils coming in right now, so,
So I'd like to go to other topics for a couple of minutes, and then come 7 o'clock, jump back into the homeless issue
okay.
and other factors like the $1 billion we dropped on homeless shelters this year. Something like $3,500 a week per family. Anyway, I wanted to start out with the Babylon Bee, which I see as being the epitome of news, and they said the Women's National Basketball Association warns if you throw anything on the court, you will be forced to attend 10 more WNBA games. Have you been following this?
No, I know there's a lot going on with the whole Caitlin Clark stuff. I don't really understand, like I see it randomly, but I don't follow through. So can you explain some more to me?
But I think it's up to now 5 times people have tried to toss the dildo onto the floor.
They're throwing dildos on the floors at the WNBA games? I didn't
Yeah.
even know this.
And
Is Caitlin Clark not really a girl?
Of course she is.
I thought she was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, of course she is, yeah. Yep.
No, but what's the controversy with her?
What do you think the controversy is?
Say that again?
What do you think it is?
The controversy is she's good at what she does. She gets a lot of attention and people are jealous. And I'll tell you what Caitlin Clark has done from what I've seen, and she stays solid. she doesn't break. The amount of pressure that girl was under in college and what she's under now, I'm not up to date what's going on, but I am a Caitlin Clark fan.
Isn't she a Caucasian?
She's Caucasian, she is,
Yeah. And yes,
and she's a basketball player.
I'm just putting it all together right now.
What can I say?
Well, I know there was controversy about transgender people in the WNBA, and then I don't know, I don't follow it enough, and I probably shouldn't have said anything, because it makes me look very extra naive. But now that I know, the homeless is big business in Massachusetts. That's very true, too. The politicians' friends do very well in the form of NGOs. What is
Governmental organizations.
not-for-profits. There's
The
tons
British
of them.
have a better term for it. Quango,
Quango.
a quasi-autonomous, non-governmental organization.
Continuing with the text.
Their friends then turn around and make a nice campaign contribution. Of course, it's political, but, well, yeah, the money factor, like with COVID and the masks, people made money off of that. I was saying to somebody, I think ever since we got those COVID vaccines, like it took a while to build up in our systems, but I've never gotten so sick in my life since getting that COVID vaccine. And nobody ever asked for proof of it, not even when I went back to work as a teacher. But we were all mandated to do it, wear masks for years.
What Bart said is what Jack Mitchell has been saying for years, that
Too many nonprofits.
welfare is big business in Lowell.
It is. As is addiction.
Yep.
I mean, yes, 40 years ago, they didn't send people to all these programs that cost $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 that we're finding actually in some ways are great, in some ways are not. Has to be some sort of balance there, because I feel like 40, 50 years ago that addiction was fought a lot better with just AA in the old style that you have to let them hit rock bottom to let them build back up. And the socialistic approach is not letting people hit rock bottom, because you know what? There's money in it.
Right. And
So there's money in the socialistic approach. So I 100% agree with you, right?
there's no desire to do better either for a lot of people. Like, if you get better, what? You're still poor, you're still struggling. What's the point? And so why don't they just stay where they're at, right?
Yep.
And there's no realistic goal to get them from, like, the drop 0 point that you're at, ground zero, right, to slowly structure to get better. And that's the issue. It's either you do this or you do that. And there's no long-term plan. There's of wraparound services that we desperately need in the city.
Yep.
And it needs to be continuous and follow through. And we need to figure out a way that maybe lack of insurance is not an issue. Because that's where a lot of people fall off the wagon with a lot of this.
Yep.
Because maybe Mass Health will cover some services, but it doesn't follow through for a continuation of services for these people. And that's what everyone desperately needs, continuation and follow through. And nobody likes that, because that's where the hard work comes in.
Yep. Absolutely.
So,
I just want to put this point out to the panel. These discussions, you've got to rope the court into these discussions. Because these people retain their rights. Now, David, you talked about Narcan recovery of people's life. They get up and say, I don't want to care.
Yeah. I've seen it
Then they
hundreds of times.
skip down the street, and to me, the judge should order, once you get Narcan, you're going in for 6 weeks.
You just said something very important, 6 weeks. Because you can't, there's a thing called Section 12, John. Do you know what it is? So.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about, never
So
read
Section
it.
12 is what, you
It's
could technically,
ancient.
if somebody, a lot of people are saying, hey, we should Section 12 them. It takes them out of the streets for 72 hours. If you Section 12 addicts, you would kill so many people, it's not even funny. Because what would happen is they'd get out after 3 days, John, and they would take the same amount that they were taking before they were picked up. So they've been clean for 3 days, and then they'd boost themselves in the arm or snort, and they would die. So 6 weeks is the number, because it would give people time, and then they would know if they are going to get back on the
David,
fentanyl
my
train.
solution to this whole thing is take advantage of the executive order that the president
Yeah.
signed to take the homeless off the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Ship them out to Barica House of Correction,
Yep.
and they're going to stay there until they're healthy.
That's what is needed. I mean,
And you got to tell the judge, let it happen. And if you don't tell the judge, let it happen, they're going to sue the city's pants off.
Yeah.
And each one of these druggies is going to get $1 million reward.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And with the proper services to service them, so when they come out, they're not going back out and looking for that same amount.
wait.
But there's 600 empty beds in Billerica, right?
Yeah,
But what you have is, you have a half a dozen federal judges in eastern Massachusetts who are prepared to approve an injunction against President Trump's executive order.
well, I think the city of Lowell should do what's right. And there are people living in fear. There are people that won't even leave the buildings that are being held hostage over at the Bishop Markham. And there are people laying on the ground right now, all messed up on drugs by the school right across the street, right? I think we should take politics out of it and just do what's right and worry about the consequences later. Because right now we can save lives. Why are we putting a dollar sign on lives?
Jeannie Belka says, can the Lowell Board of Health intervene and address those deplorable conditions? Thank you, Jeannie Belkis. Don't forget to mention an outdated shelter that is a disaster in the city for decades, Jay, right? And so I wish politics weren't involved, but politics are going to get either way.
They
with
got so much room over at Tewksbury,
Tewksbury.
right? Why can't we bus back and forth? Why can't we, John, is there anything, was that something you could probably do, Tewksbury? Why can't we bus back and forth? They have so much room in
David, the
Tewksbury.
easiest thing to do, you got a building that's designed to house people.
Yep, Billerica House of
The
Correction.
Rick House of Correction. You have supervisory personnel in place.
Yep.
Medical
Put them
staff.
out there. Now, if you want to, okay, after 6 weeks, we'll ship them over to Tewksbury Hospital. I don't care. But we got an empty building doing nothing. And for the whole state, Concord Prison Site. There's thousands of cells in Concord Prison Site. Send the homeless out there. Get them off drugs. Get them, mental illness doesn't get discussed. Mental illness is half the problem with the homeless.
No, it's way less than half the problem with the homeless. Trust me when I tell you, I'm sitting there looking into people's eyeballs. I'm seeing them pinned. I'm seeing them dilated. I have a lot of experience in the field, John. Like you said, I've seen so many dead people from overdoses in my career. This is a drug war and a drug problem. I would say, if you wanted to say, hey, presto, David, you know, what would you say the percentage is? Easily 4 out of 5 people are on the streets. They will not accept the services for drugs. And then mental health. And then you know what's actually shocking to me, John? There's a chunk of people now that are homeless because they can't pay their child support. They've had their licenses taken away and their jobs taken away. I've noticed that there's a small chunk of single fathers out there that are out there too, which kind of shocked me out in the streets because they
Eileen, you want to read this? I got to let
pay the
Melanie in.
child support, or keep up on it,
Yeah.
and they lose their apartments and everything.
It's pretty bad when throwing lime green sex toys on the floor gets your sport attention. That joke from Cliff was on fire, Bart. But, you know, I think, you know, in education, you know, and you see kids who have basically ADHD from
Yeah.
the start on a wide scale of severity, right? Right off the bat, these kids are mentally ill, according to the DSM-5, right? And depending on how severe it is, if it does not get treated, those kids are at risk for addiction and further mental health issues. So I think this is just an overall awareness we need stronger for everybody from school-age kids and we need to keep eyes on it. So just trying to fix this population right now, it's almost impossible.
So, it
'Cause
really
it's
gets
too
back
crude.
to civics and that parents are not doing their job.
Yes, Cliff, you're right. No, I think it's impossible for. Good morning, Miss Melanie. I think it's impossible for
Start with
parents to
Randy.
do their job. Ooh, those are the best. All right, do we have to go to break?
Shaking donuts.
Goodbye, everyone. We'll see you in a second. So, it really gets back to civics and that parents are not doing their job.
Yes, Cliff, you're right. No, I think it's impossible for. Good morning, Miss Melanie. I think it's impossible for parents to do their job. Ooh, those are the best. All right, do we have to go to break?
Goodbye, everyone. We'll see you in a second. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to City Life Show. I'm Cliff Krieger, your host. On the far side is Eileen Delrossi, my co-host. She's running for school committee. We have with us Melanie Gilbert, who's a foreigner, but she works for the Lowell Sun.
Scalawag.
Yeah, well, that too.
A blow-in.
Yeah, blowing, thank you.
A blow-in from Michigan.
But with donuts.
I'm going to cheat. And our other guest is David Prestipino,
Prestipino, you got it.
who is a frequent social media commentator on homelessness.
Oh,
How many
So-
followers do you have?
I got about 150 to 160,000.
whoa.
Yeah.
What the heck, man?
I know, you guys gotta talk.
Seriously?
Yes. Melanie works as a writer for the Lowell Sun.
Oh,
No,
I
she's-
love Dan Films. Love Dan Films.
He's not with us
You
now.
what?
No.
He's out in.
Oh, that was heartbreaking.
Yeah.
He was the best.
Yeah. Well, he landed on his feet.
Did
You
he?
know, I
That's
mean,
good
if
to
you're a news person, you can't really get the newsprint out of your blood.
Yeah.
You know, it's like an addiction.
Yep,
You know,
yep.
to see your name in the paper and wait for the story to
Yep.
post. I mean, it's an obsession.
Yep.
And so that had to be hard. But he really turned it around by turning his talents into something useful for the town of Dracut, which
Yeah.
is, and we use a ton of his stuff.
Yep.
He sets us up, and that copy always does well. People in Dracut read the paper.
Yeah.
I mean, they're on it.
Yep.
Chelmsford, Dracut, well, of course Lowell, but, you know, when they say newsprint is dying, actually, there are these little pockets of, you know, diehard newspaper readers. Warren Shaw is a big fan of the paper. I can always count on him to give me a quote.
No matter what, my mother will never do like e-reading, so I have to make sure
Oh.
she gets the Lowell Sun every day.
Good for you, Eileen.
Yeah, and they just throw it now. Like they throw it like
Isn't
no
it
big
amazing how
deal.
small the newspaper's gotten over the years?
I know.
Yeah.
I used to go down to Harvard Square where they had that newsstand. It's
Yeah.
now out of business, and I'd
yeah.
walk up there every Sunday for the Washington Post, which was like $5, and I swear that thing was this thick. You know, it was like a brick.
I was a
Best
paper boy
comics
when I
in
was
the
young.
United
Yeah, me too. That was
States.
my first
Yeah,
job.
Randy was too. Yeah, it's the little
Same,
papers.
same, so, I'm
I
sorry.
used to get the Washington Post as the 38 store on Sunday.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
and then the Washington Post stopped shipping them.
It's hard to find newsstands like that carry all the newspapers, all the magazines. You could get foreign papers, the London Financial Times, what's the pink one? Is that the Financial Times?
Oh, God, I can't.
Yes,
It's printed on pink paper,
yes.
sort of pinkish, yeah. So, it's just, you could walk in and just sort of drool, but I don't even.
I had to cancel
Tower,
my subscription. I thought they
The
were.
Financial
You're an
Times?
absolute riot,
Yeah.
by the way, so you're fine.
I'll tell you after the show why.
Okay, all right, what do you got for us,
So
Cliff?
Democracy in Action, Melanie Gilbert?
Yes, today at 10.
What
We're
is
drawing the
this?
ballots for the September 9th preliminary. Who gets to go on the ballot?
For,
In
wait,
what order?
in Lowell?
Yeah.
For the runoffs.
For the at-large?
No, it's the
For the
at-large,
preliminary,
Acre.
let's see, the
Belvedere.
Belvedere, the Acre, and District 8, which
Oh,
is
Highlands,
Highlands.
right.
So, all right, so John Dakota is up against who?
Two other people, you're making us look bad on live TV,
All right, no,
Eileen.
but we were just
Well, just
talking
a
about this.
second.
What is the preliminary
You
proof?
have
And that will
the whole
knock
list.
out one
I do, I
person.
did print the whole
No,
list.
no. Eileen has the whole list.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You didn't send me my syllabus this week, Cliff.
Syllabus, literally syllabus.
I apologize.
That's why I didn't get back to you.
All
I was
right,
pouting.
yes, okay, city council.
Highlands, John Dakota, Francisco Maldonado.
Okay.
And Marcus Candido.
Okay, so the preliminary, the primary will knock out one of these.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. And at-large incumbents Eric Gitchia, Rita Murcia, Vesna Noon, and challengers Sixto De Jesus and Emily Kaufman.
Not enough to cause a
Yeah,
preliminary
They're not going to be in the
election.
preliminary today, no.
Okay.
So
What
this
would
is-
be enough to cause a preliminary or a
You have
primary?
to have more than 2 times the number of seats.
Yes.
So that would
9.
be 9, you're right.
Okay, so Mayor Rourke's good, Council Robinson doesn't have one, Belvedere incumbent, that's going to be a hot race. Corey Belanja, Danny Finn, Eric Gendron, and Belinda Duran. So that will knock out 2?
Yes.
Yes, right.
Okay. Downtown, it's Wayne Janess incumbent and challenger Sean McDonough.
That's fine, that
Not
goes to
enough.
November.
That
Yep.
goes to November, okay. And then Kim Scott and Sherry O'Connor Barbosa in District 5.
November, yep.
That goes to November, Lower Highlands, it's just Counselor Chow, District 7, incumbent Paul Ratha-Yum, and challengers Sidney Liang and Jose Cervantes. We had him on last week, right,
Yes,
Jose? And so that will knock out 1, so there's
Yeah.
only 2. In Highlands, John Dakota, Francisco Maldonado, and Marcus Candido. So that will knock out 1. So there's only 2. All right, now I'm getting it. So the
I'm
primary
wondering
doesn't
is-
have a role.
don't worry,
Is
Eileen, it
Sydney-
took me 3 years.
Is Sydney,
I gotta tell you, one of the politicians that reaches out to me that I think is phenomenal for our city of Lowell, and I'd say is probably, to me, the most important politician to the common people and the common man right now, born and raised here, will never leave here, is Eric
Gitchia.
Gitchia. By far. You can't meet a better person that wants this city to just improve than Eric Gitchia. That's, when I go in and I mark that little spot, I look for that name. And I want everybody that's listening to me right now, you want this city to really keep going, look for that name, Eric Gitchia, and vote for it.
Now, I can't have a dog in this fight, but I will say that Eric took a big risk 2 years ago when he moved from his solid
District.
Highland seat and went to at-large.
Yep.
Because I think he had clout, but, you know,
He
you
likes
never...
a challenge.
You never know
He's a
with
Gitchia.
a wider city race, whether you're
Yep.
just a local phenomena or you're a more global phenomena.
Yep.
And he, at-large people, I think they're like rock stars.
Yep,
They have to prove their
absolutely.
mettle under the old system.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's a real place to shine.
I gotta tell you, as I was walking those parks, that's one politician that actually showed up in his vehicle,
Yeah.
right? Showed up.
Sees
He wants to see that area.
what's going on.
Right.
Yep.
so District 7, do you
Districts-
think Sidney Lang is going to get unfair advantage because of name confusion?
Why would,
What name confusion?
Sidney,
Why would she get unfair
Keith?
advantage?
Jeans?
Sydney Sawyer,
You should be up here.
next time. Or
Jeans.
Maybe I haven't had enough
like
sugar.
Sydney-
Put your face in here, a little shout out for Randy Sylvester,
Have you seen-
RSVP
you
car guy.
haven't seen the
Anybody looking for a
controversy
vehicle, just
about
call
the girl in
RSVP
the
car guy. You'll
jeans?
get the best deal on
No.
the planet.
I'm not a consumer of,
mid-donut.
Of news?
Eating his donut.
well, yeah, is it fashion? What is
Sydney-
it?
With his
Sydney,
abs, the six-pack eating a donut. Go
what is
figure.
it? American Eagle had an advertisement with Sydney saying, I have great genes. And then she talks
Does she?
about her heredity. Yes.
I get that
she
song
does.
somewhere over the
And
rainbow
then
in
she
my head right
goes-
now, listening to Cliff.
She's
Oh,
zipping up her
Sydney,
jeans.
okay, gotcha.
No, never
All right,
mind.
now I got you. I was
Anyway,
thinking
the
Sydney with a
point
Y. Okay, I was drilling
Today,
down.
at 10 o'clock,
Yes,
one of the ways to help the politicians and the bureaucrats to understand how important you think things are and they ought to keep them straight is show up to watch them pull the names
for the preliminary ballot,
for
right.
the preliminary ballot.
I guess they don't go, they'd go in, well, however you draw is how you get named
Yeah.
on the ballot. So I've never seen that, so I'm
It's in the
excited. I'm going to
mayor's
be there.
reception room.
Are you going to be there?
No, because I'm going to be visiting my wife.
Ah, yes. How is Martha?
She is doing pretty well.
She asked about me? Come on.
You gotta bring her chicken from KFC.
I brought her turtles. I thought
I
that would
have to
cement
tell
my
you-
legacy.
I have to tell you, turtles are the thing.
Turtles.
Turtles.
Turtles, those little turtle things from Russell Stover?
Ah.
Or, you know, whomever makes them, they're like pecan and chocolate and caramel.
I know
They're
those.
wicked. They're,
Perfect.
I see. All
yeah,
right,
they're,
next time,
you can't
turtles.
just eat one.
Turtles.
Oh, you're,
And we didn't.
no. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to buy another box.
Or
But
two.
the other time you can go and watch this operation is when they test the voting machines.
Oh, that is cool. I have seen that.
And you can be there and you can watch, and your watching helps make sure that they do it right.
So good news is that I don't think we've had to do this in so many years because we haven't had enough people running,
I
right?
agree. I think it's always, even Markey, Senator Markey, you know, he has two
He's from
challengers.
Delaware. Isn't he the senator from Delaware?
Ha, no.
Oh,
Ha. So, boy, you are on fire, Cliff.
I think we need new blood.
Too many
Joe.
ner-
I
too-
think we
too many
need new blood. I think
turtles.
it's time for Markey to go. I think
Well,
we need new blood.
yeah.
We
in-
need new blood.
In this instance, I read a really interesting, was it in the Washington Globe or Washington Post or Boston Globe, is that, you know, he's jamming up the, in the same way that it's happening at the corporate level, that the corporate leaders aren't going, and so the 50-year-olds who are behind them that think, oh, okay, I'm next, and then they don't leave, now you have the 40-year-olds coming up behind them, they're gonna be like the donut hole
Yep. Yep.
leadership, and it's corrosive, I
Yeah.
think. And, you know, I think it just would be a good time to be an elder statesman
Yep.
and be a player in a different realm. But in any event, he has two challengers, and even though they're not big names, and I don't think they have a snowball's hope, but
It's
who's
just
to
when-
say?
it's-
It's still good. I like it that people show up, that
You know,
they
when you're at that
represent.
level and you've been at the same level for decades, sometimes it's good to see new blood.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
You know,
it'll
things
be,
get stale. It's good to see
Wait.
challenge. Hopefully it picks him up.
is he older than Elizabeth Warren?
yes, he's 80, I believe. He would be 86 if he won.
Careful.
Why? What do you mean?
Yeah, well,
Are you 80
Joseph
or not 80?
Robinette Biden has made it tough for those of us who are over 80,
You're not over 80.
83.
Are you kidding me?
No? Would I endanger my immortal soul by lying to you?
Cliff, I am impressed. You look great. I got to tell
Where
you.
did John go? John's been gone for like 15 minutes.
He's out milking a cow so that he has cream for the coffee. So
Well-
did you see the New York Post photograph and comment on our senior senator, Elizabeth Warren?
No, I didn't see it.
No,
What did it say?
what did it
What?
say? I didn't get the syllabus,
Native
so I don't know if it's
American.
in there.
She was meeting with the candidate for mayor, and it was titled, Native American Meets African American.
Oh, is this the New York Post?
Yeah.
I love their headlines. They are so rambunctious. Sometimes when I write my boring headlines, because of space or whatever, and or protocol, I think, wow, I wonder what the New York Post would say.
My feeling is Massachusetts, all the upper echelon, we need new blood.
I think across the board.
I think upper echelon, I'm not talking about local, I'm talking about the upper echelons. I think we need new blood. I think there's a lot of failure in a lot of ways happening in the state.
Well, it just feels stale,
Yep,
right?
it's beyond stale. It's there's a lot of common sense not being used in this state right now, too. People are worrying about other people's feelings too much instead of just getting the job done.
Now,
That's my
that
belief.
race for Markey, right, Markey, is a year away, correct? That's
Yeah.
2026. So he's announced pretty early to lock down the money and the stuff, but that's not to say he won't get a Republican challenger.
Doesn't matter if, I don't care about Republicans, Democrats, we just need some
No,
new
but just
blood. We
any
need some
sort,
new blood.
right, any
Yeah.
sort of energy and movement.
People get caught up in races, what I mean
Yeah.
is political races, like Democrat, Republican, and
I
I've
think
been
a little-
both in my life. I've been a Democrat
yeah.
and a Republican. I just, if you're listening to this, when you go to the booth, just vote to who you like.
Right.
Doesn't matter what they are.
Well, I kind of feel like, though, that friction
A lot of that's been going on the last 10
makes
years
for
or so
a good
in this country.
contest.
Yeah, a
So,
lot of
well,
that's been happening.
help me
We're too
understand about
divided.
this. Texas, because of court rulings and the Biden DOJ, is talking reapportionment of, and people are afraid it would add 5 Republicans. And we have people threatening to do redistricting to help the Democrats, like the Jeff Davis worshiper Gavin Newsom out in California, although the California Constitution says he can't do it. J.B. Pritzker in Illinois. I mean, he has got some horrible gerrymandering going on in Illinois, and if John was here, I'd ask him to bring up Illinois Congressional District 3, which Monday we'll talk about again from a different direction. But then Maura Healey is threatening to redistrict Massachusetts. Is she Cluedo? There are no Republicans in our delegation to D.C.
I think Maura Healey's a good human being. I just don't think Maura Healey's a politician.
Traditionally, have attorney generals done well?
I don't know. I
don't think we've had a lot of-
I mean, you're living in a different world as a district attorney and an attorney general. You're spending all day in courtrooms. You're really not out into the everyday general public. And you're just seeing bad all the time. So you're going to be kind of swayed to just go a certain way all the time. And that's not the way it should be.
And I kind of feel
and
like...
then you just want to, then you get the other side where you just want to, the feelings and
Yeah.
help the masses. And I just don't think it's working.
I wonder too, I spitballing here, I wonder too if, when you're a prosecutor, which is an attorney general,
Yep.
things are black and white.
Exactly. Yeah.
And really, politics is all that meaty stuff in the middle. You have to sort of accommodate all the voices. And in a prosecutor, they don't have to hear all the voices.
What about
I feel like we're
Tish
seeing a
James?
fake person.
Who?
Because that's how prosecutors are. They're black and white. And as her being a politician, she's trying to get in those gray areas, and it's coming across as very fake and not genuine to me. And she's overwhelmed in my
Okay.
feelings.
I think John got the milk from the cow.
Hey, John's
Yeah.
got the milk from the cow. Hey, we're getting ready to do a well-being check for you.
So what were you saying about just a
Tish
moment?
James, the Attorney General of
Oh,
the
Letitia? Is that her
great
name?
state of New York.
New York? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I haven't heard from her lately. What's going on with her?
Well, she's probably preparing the defense against the accusations.
This is
that
why I come here.
I just met him today, and he's an absolute trip. I love it.
So let's go to
Don't hold back,
homeless.
Cliff. Don't hold back.
Let's go to homeless,
All right, homeless.
which
Another
I
light
had slotted
topic.
into the afternoon. I didn't copy you with the notes.
You did not, and that's why I ignored you, because I can play that game
John,
too.
would you go to the interwebs and look up Illinois Congressional District 3 and see if we can get a picture of it. So anyway, so people are leaving the Inn and Conference Center. Do we know where they're going?
I'm going there next. So I have to let you know next time. I mean, they're still open. They're
Yeah.
just as an emergency shelter versus a long-term stay. And I can't remember the word that they use. So that ICC is not closed, they've just changed the name. So
No,
it
but
doesn't-
people are leaving. I'm
Yeah,
wondering
the
where those
migrants
people.
left.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh.
the migrants left, but it's unclear who's there. It's a influx. You can't stay more than, I think, 30 days. It's a rapid rehousing shelter.
Ah.
But-
So, but the University of Chicago and Dartmouth College did a study, and they say that we've got the major increase in homelessness was due to migrants coming to the United States.
Oh, that's interesting. Who said that?
University of Chicago and Dartmouth College.
Oh,
I will be sure to send you
I'll
this
definitely
so
look
you'll
that
have
up.
the
Yeah,
notes. Yeah.
for sure.
From what I've seen locally though, Cliff, I haven't seen homeless migrants when I've been walking the streets around the South Common. I've seen Americans.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen. I haven't seen that many migrants. I've seen some people that are homeless that haven't been in this country, that are not from this country, but when I've spoken to them, we're talking about long-term people that have been here 10, 20 years.
Is this what you're looking for, Cliff?
you know.
I'm looking
So
for the
when I'm
map.
walking around the areas, I'm not seeing migrants that are homeless. I'm seeing Americans that are homeless.
That'll do.
I would guess too that the migrants
Yeah.
are families, so they're completely different
Okay, kids, let's take
channel.
it
They
out.
wouldn't show up on the street.
No, the migrants
Hopefully.
were being,
Okay, kids, let's pay
being
attention to
housed
the
and all
host.
that
That's
stuff.
Cliff.
All right, Cliff, hit it.
Hit it, Cliff.
J.D.
Sorry, David.
J.D.
Yeah.
Pritzker is whinging about reapportionment and gerrymandering down in Texas. The yellow there is one of the congressional districts in Illinois. The orange would be Chicago. This does not look like a compact district to me. This looks like it's worthy of Governor Jerry, who gave us gerrymandering here in Massachusetts.
Like District 4 in Lowell, Cliff?
Yeah, but much worse.
Yeah, now that map I can get behind. I mean, I feel like, okay, that makes sense.
District 4 can get freaking break.
Well, District 4 is a little weird. I don't understand what happened
Not
there.
as
What
good
is
as my
that?
map, but
Gerrymandering.
Is that Belvedere? No, who is that?
four.
That's here. That's the Lowell connection.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So District 4 is like a disgrace. So we do gerrymandering everywhere. Back to
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That is weird. How'd that come about? Who made
Oh,
that?
because you have to have them proportioned.
Oh, the number of people.
No, they didn't
Right.
want Hoey to run for office. That's what it's all about.
All right. You're going to have
Before
to
my
have
time.
somebody cross the river.
Yeah.
When I did my map, because very nicely the city government gave us a tool that we could all play around with, you had to have some people from Christian Hill combined with the people from Belvedere.
Gotcha.
So, but people are leaving, are they going into houses that are leaving the transitional living center?
I don't know where they're going, actually. That's a question I have to ask Executive Office of Livable and Housing Communities. When we have a housing crisis,
Yeah. So,
where are you housing them? I'm confused.
Ask them
So,
What's
about Bishop Markham, too.
wasn't
yeah.
there a plan to move the transitional living center?
It's been rumored for some time. Well, not rumored.
Yeah.
City Council's been talking about it. I guess I should
Where are we
say it's
gonna
been
put 'em?
speculated that they're going to, there's been talk about it. And SMOC, South
Middlesex.
Middlesex
Yeah.
Opportunity Council, they own that building.
Yeah.
So they'd have to sell it, and they'd have to find a buyer for it. And, you know, the building is, in my opinion, the building is not rehabable. I believe it's either a complete gut renovation or a tear down. So I don't know what that, I'm not a real estate person, but I wonder what that would do to the value of it, and it's not in a poppin' area, really, not yet, although it's projected to become one. So, and the other question is, it's really co-located to where you need all the services. All the services are there. You've got the Lowell Community Health Center, you've got CBA pantries, they have resources. The people who need those resources are all part of, like, in that walkable distance. So some of the areas they were looking at were, I believe, an old, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, off Stedman Road. It was a temple. But it's like in the middle of nowhere. So how does that really serve people? And I guess you'd have to incorporate all those services under one roof to make it work.
Yeah.
So I think the thing is a good idea. I think it needs a lot of work to execute. And I don't know that that work is going into it right now, because there's no money.
So my other question that's in the back of my mind is, what would we do if
Eileen, I got
smart-
text for you to read.
What?
Talking to Eileen. She's not paying attention.
No, Eileen's not paying attention. It's Eileen.
Eileen's here.
What if Smart decamped? What would we do here in Lowell?
I
Would
think
the
rejoice.
homeless go with them?
Rejoice.
Yeah, I think we'd manage, honestly. I think.
Smart does not have an end game.
Well,
All these not-for-profits don't have an end game.
They
They
don't.
want to increase give me a bigger population to serve, just more money. And the not-for-profits don't have an end game.
Unfortunately, too, the word profit is on the end of that. There's profits to be made with nonprofits.
So
too.
Eileen, you got 75 texts. Corey
75.
My
Robinson,
goodness.
Corey Robinson I was out getting fake creamies next door, so all these texts came in.
All right. Corey Robinson says, in psychotherapy and mental health, enabling is an action of deliberate lack of action that encourages behaviors in others, especially if said behavior is either positive or dysfunctional. By repeatedly ignoring a person's dysfunctional behavior and waiting for a window of opportunity to present itself for an intervention, unfortunately, that opportunity may never present itself. By compassionately enforcing repeated violations and forcing treatment, it gives them the opportunity to create that needed intervention for somebody that may not be capable of doing it for themselves.
And the last one,
One challenge for the Lowell Housing Authority is land court and how difficult it is to evict bad tenants. And that's why we need to get the courts involved.
Yeah, that's, it's one of the ways, Corey, that I think would be very helpful over at the Bishop Markham is to have cameras in all the common ways, in the hallways, every hallway. That way, it can be, investigations can happen. Why are there 50, 60, 70 people a day coming out of this one unit? And then the people that are being intimidated over there by the cartels and the drug lords and people that are selling drugs for profits over there, they'll feel the pressure to not be there too, which will give the people that live there the ability to get relieved from some stress. Now, the other thing that you've said is compassionately get them services. For 40 years, we've compassionately tried ways, and they're not working. There are 600 beds available at the Barica House of Correction. It is compassion when somebody is passed out on the ground in public and nodding off, and it's clearly fentanyl. It is compassion to those people, but never mind just those people. The problem with these drugs nowadays compared to 30, 40 years ago is they're 10 times stronger. They're absolutely destroying everything around the person doing the drugs too. For instance, I did the video the other day, a lot of people that are on here have seen that. Right on Appleton Street, the guy's still there. He has one doorway where he sleeps, and there are probably 25 poops splattered against the wall. It's unsanitary. And if you say something to the person and they're not doing anything for me, they're refusing services for a reason. The drugs are making them refuse services. And if it's mental health, which is much less than the drugs, because I've been out there, then yes, we need to compassionately find ways to get them service too. We have the Barica House of Correction, but we also have the Tewksbury State Hospital, which is a very short ride. There are services, but we cannot have people pooping in our doorways in front of our businesses and homes. right? There's a saying, there's a lot to like about Lowell, but there's also, this city's come a very, very long way. There's a lot to sell about Lowell too. And just, never mind the people have to see that, but the people that are working in businesses are out there being destroyed, common people that are working, all their lives are being destroyed. The drugs are also destroying everything around that person. This is me in the hallway. Earlier in the other session, I was an EMT and I was a field supervisor. I ran the EMS system in 4 towns in Massachusetts. One being a city, Lawrence, Massachusetts.
What are we looking at,
Trust me.
David?
We're looking at clothes. We're looking at feces right there. That is urine stains. That's urine all over the walls. I have seen countless dead bodies. I have smelled a lot of stuff, and you're going to watch me start gagging. I have walked into 1-week-old deceased homes when people have been there for a week, and I have not gagged the way I gag. People are living in third world conditions over there, John, and they're afraid to speak up. There are blowjobs, hookers, johns happening in those hallways. Needles, that's a drug bag right there as we walk by. That's either filled with fentanyl. A little child can touch that bag, John, and die. That's how strong that these are. These places are not being mismanaged. They are being something that's another word besides mismanaged. They should be forced to live in these conditions. John, change needs to happen. People are afraid to speak up to the police because there are so many units in there.
Why
that are
hasn't
selling
somebody called the
drugs.
Board of Health?
What?
Why doesn't somebody call the Board of Health?
Because people are living in fear, right? People over there are living in fear. They're afraid to reach out to the police. They're afraid. They'll talk to me because I'm not the police, right? They are living in absolute horror and fear. They're hostages to their apartments. Right there, that's powder right there. They're not like bugs and cockroaches going to your unit. The place is littered and infested with bugs. You're going to see in a moment, that's a common room that's had to be shut down, that the elderly and the disabled can no longer use because drug addicts are breaking in the building. Look down into the sink. That is diarrhea at the bottom. People are breaking in and going to the bathroom. Grandmothers, elderly people, grandfathers, disabled people have to use those washers and dryers. The buildings are littered with needles. Needles are around the buildings. That is ground zero to what is devastating in the area. These buildings are just not being used. That is Joan Doobie, 87-year-old Joan Doobie. Joan Doobie is just viciously attacked and assaulted. She didn't want to let somebody in the building. She was thrown to the ground so they can get into the building to get their drugs. Ground zero is Bishop Markham. And if you look at outside of Bishop Markham, one side is the South Common Park and the other side is Jay's Food Store. That's where you see all the addicts and the homeless. This is not a homeless issue. This is mostly a drug issue. These people are refusing the services, and I see people here crapping on the government and telling our city leaders aren't doing anything. These city leaders are begging to get these people to take services. Tough love, it's time for tough love. They're handing needles out at the park. John, I said in the last episode you just had, more people have died from fentanyl overdoses in this country than World War I, World War II, and the Vietnam War and every conflict from there on we've had,
Well,
right?
But underlining
And
is, we subsidize this.
Excuse me?
We subsidize this with our, every one of these characters has an EBT card, a mass health card, and a lot of them get food stamps.
Yeah.
And we're subsidizing this lifestyle.
And
this the one you're gonna
they're
say?
getting, like you said, if they're getting their services, they're not using it the appropriate way, which is why, I do believe that maybe if I've got to take a drug test to get a job, to pay my taxes, to pay, maybe we should, if you're on services, maybe have to submit a urine test a few times a year. That way we can identify and help, because tough love is needed. If somebody is given a urine sample and it's coming back with fentanyl, it's coming back with meth, we need to shut the services off so we cannot enable them. A lot of people, I get a lot of blowback that we should, they need needles, we'll spread disease. I'm sorry, but we got a cure for hepatitis. From 1980 to 1990, almost 500,000 people died of AIDS. We have a lot of medications for AIDS, right? But John, over 1 million people have died from fentanyl in the last decade, right? We're handing them the tools to keep doing it. We're making it easier. And not only that, they handing needles out at this Elliott Church right across your street, and they're throwing the needles on the ground right next to a school. Now little kids are coming out, right? My videos, you've seen me, I have literally walked and picked up hundreds of needles on occasions. Hundreds, right? Now, the city of Lowell has way
Do you
more
wear
beautiful
gloves?
areas than they have bad areas, but this area is ground zero.
So speaking about, yeah,
Paul's Kitchen over at the Elliott, it just perpetuates the situation. They feed them, they don't help them.
It's church. They're doing the best they can. It's what they think is the best thing. And hey, we may be wrong. Maybe over time. I don't think so, though. I'm boots on the ground. We're enabling this to happen. And the cartels and everybody that's selling the drugs, they're winning. Taking the tents away was one of the best things that's ever happened to the city of Lowell during this fight. Last year, the homeless population was probably double what it is now. That was just those tents were just a spot for the cartel to hide their drugs, John. And if you noticed, a week or two after we took the tents away from the city of Lowell, God bless Eric Gitchia, our city council, for putting that motion in. He took a lot of blowback from that, but it's made a big difference in the area. But let's get back to the point. When we took the tents away, the homeless population dropped dramatically, and then on Channel 4, 5, and 7, they had a crisis on Massachusetts Avenue. A lot of the homeless that were here in Lowell were not from Lowell, Massachusetts. They were here for the drugs. This is a drug war, and I am 100% positive Bishop Markham is ground zero, which is why if you look at a 200-meter area around Bishop Markham, everything around Bishop Markham has been destroyed. It's the people themselves that are being destroyed using the drugs, but they,
We're running short on time.
yep, they're getting, the drugs are destroying everything around the people.
I think you got these two things.
When you-
I want Dave to talk about this new concept of selling cars.
When you fill a city with social services, that's what you get. True. If people are afraid, they contact the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, DPH number 1-617-624-6000. Thank you, Jeannie Belkis. Or they can call me and I'll call for them.
I love that.
I'm going to tell you something right now. I talked to residents in there, and when they were talking to me, some of them were looking one way, looking the other. That showed me they are living in fear, right? Some of them like this unit over here.
Back to this issue, this is a new concept that Randy put together on selling cars. Can you tell us what we're looking at here, David?
I got to tell you, Randy, RSVP car guy, you don't even have to, like, literally, right? He does everything right over the phone. You don't have to deal with the whole process, right? I love it. I've been in the car business for 25 years. RSVP car guy, if you're looking for a vehicle, call Randy at 978-995-6344 or go to www.rsvcarguy.com.
Well, all that good stuff. This is a new concept?
The new concept of this, this takes 90% of your time, it takes 100% of your effort, and it is 100% transparent. Randy will take care of you from step 1 to step 10.
Well, everybody has,
Easy.
I like it's a new concept. You call this guy up, tell him what kind of car you want, and he'll go find it for you. Good idea.
Yeah.
Just to
Every
jump back
make,
to
every
what
model
you were
doesn't matter
saying
what you're looking
about
for.
cameras and
Back to the
LHA,
show.
the city can't pay for those, and neither can LHA.
Doesn't matter, there has to be a way to put them in.
Well, they have to
Because
go through Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, and they did apply for grants, and they were turned down.
You gotta be
My
kidding me,
point.
because there are
I did this
disabled
reporting.
people. There are disabled people, Melanie.
It's not cheap, and
Right,
it's a
people
whole,
living in fear. It
yeah,
does-
there's a lot of money involved
Well,
in making those systems
How many people are
work.
dying?
I'm not disagreeing with you, I'm just saying, when
Yeah.
you say you need to put in cameras,
Yeah, they
it's
need
not
to
an
put-
inexpensive
where there's a will, there's a
proposition.
way. Doesn't matter.
Well,
They can go
Melanie,
$100 million
you say they
over on
can't
the
do it?
budget, they can
Say what,
house
John?
migrants for $400 a night.
David, look, it's a talk show, only one person can talk at a time.
Yep.
I am, so.
My first
Melanie-
talk show, John.
Melanie
It's my
had
first
said
talk.
they can't do it. What did you mean by they can't do it?
So the city can't come in and put in cameras. They'd
Not on
have to
private-
give,
not on
they'd have to
property that's
give.
not theirs.
Yeah, they'd have to give LHA the money to do the cameras.
No,
LHA is a quasi-governmental
I bet
agency.
you, it's LHA's responsibility.
Yeah, it's they're independent
However,
of
the
the city.
city does maintain the Board of Health. Any one of those residents should call the city and say, get over here inspect
And the
this
Board of Health,
hallway.
I gotta like backtrack and do a little fact checking. The Board of Health would probably call EOHLC, which owns that, it's a state property. So state rules are a little different, kind of like federal rules with ICE. ICE can do whatever they want because, in a community, because federal law trumps state law. And with the, I just call it HLC, with the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, they own, that's, LHA reports to them, not to the city of Lowell.
Yeah.
So they would have to be the agent of change. And they would have to be the one who comes in and does an inspection. They would have to be the one, just like with SMOC.
Yep.
The city of Lowell can do an inspection.
So what
sure,
we want to do
but
is
it's really
showcase the Board of
HLC
Directors.
that
We
needs
should
to be-
showcase the Board of Directors for LHA.
But then the LHA will take money from the city of Lowell for cameras? How does
Well,
that
the
work?
city can give LHA money, and they have. The city gave LHA like $600,000 to redo their boiler or something like that. I mean, they've given them money out of the general fund. It's not typical, though, because they're their own entity. You know, and so they have a different chain of funding apparatus. So Ta Chan, who's the executive director, told me that they did apply for cameras for Bishop Markham specifically to the HLC, and they were denied. They didn't have the grant money.
That's
What's he
something that has to
getting paid a year?
change from what
Yeah,
I've seen.
well,
It has
even
to
just
change.
to buy the cameras is only one piece of it. Then you have to install them, and then you have to have somebody who monitors them. They're also not allowed to hire their own police officers. There's actually a police officer station. There's a substation on site, and the residents, I'm not throwing shade at the LPD, but the residents are saying that that substation is not open, it's ineffective. I think it was broken into at one point.
What's the guy who runs the LHA, what's he make a year?
I'd have to look it up. I'm guessing
Okay,
around
we'll turn
100.
the page. Back over to Cliff, thanks.
165,000. I think that's sort of the standard in the
Seems about
executive
right.
office, yeah, executive director.
I'd like to
position.
go back to the issue of drugs. To what extent is there, below the drug use, are there people with mental illness who are self-medicating by using drugs?
And before you jump in, if I can just say, one of the challenges is getting people off the street, you have to someplace to put them. And housing is a problem, and I just went, when I came
Rebecca,
to visit
how's your
Martha,
correction?
I walked past I went to the Restoration Center, which was right on the corner of Wood and, right by the Drum Hill.
Yeah.
And I looked in the window, and there's nothing going on, and that was supposed to open like in a couple months. So I know that's, there might be loan issues and interest rates and all that jazz, but that was supposed to be an option or an avenue to get people off the street, and it's not even in motion. So, because of the funding issues. So, I'm guessing here, but I'm guessing that because Medicare, Medicaid has been cut, which is what a lot of those people would access those services through, because Medicaid has been cut, or even Medicare for older homeless people who are, what is it, you can qualify for Medicare at 65? I think Medicare is 65, Social Security for 62. But anyway, both those housing, or both those they're subsidies,
Yep.
have been cut. And so where's the revenue for those?
Yeah.
They can't bill. So I think there are a lot of cross-competing things going on here. So, but just to go back to SMOC, yes, they're an absentee landlord. I've reported that. They're in Framingham. I don't even know how often
Imagine
their
that.
leadership.
Imagine that.
The only time I feel like their leadership comes into the city
Getting
is
the
to
money
pick up
and
a
they're not
check.
even around. Exactly.
To get a picture of
Getting
the,
the money and
The guy who
they're
runs
not around.
LHA, 183.
absentee landlord.
Well, city
Right.
council, if you're listening, why don't we try to make some
Wait,
changes
wait.
to get an in-house operator
Wait.
from our city?
One at a time.
Break. Speak, John.
I know we need
LHA
panels.
housing director makes 183,877.
Okay, yeah, that's,
Yeah, imagine this year. Oh,
well, they all go up. They get step increases and they get performance increases. I mean, it's like being a professional athlete. You get all these all these salary.
I
So
think
okay.
someone should demand them to do an evaluation of the current LHA boss, who's probably making $200,000 a year now.
Well, I think Ta Chan inherited a really awful situation. I don't think the previous executive did this before my time, so I don't really have firsthand experience with this, but based on our previous reporting, I think the LHA was poorly served
Well,
under the old leadership. And I think he came in to a real bleep show, and I think he's only been there like 2 years, 2 or 3 years.
Well, I don't know the man, I don't know
Yeah.
him personally, but if he's been there 2 years, right, he's already failed. Did
He
you
had
see
a
those
lot to dig
Doesn't
out.
matter. Did you see those
Yeah.
conditions? If he has walked into those buildings and he has let that stay like that, I don't know the man, but he's failing.
No, if you read my reporting, David, I reported on this last year. They came in and they've got regular police patrols, but you can't, they've got the neighborhood response unit
Melanie?
but you can't maintain that level of,
Melanie, if you could walk inside that building and be in there for 10 minutes and
oh,
not
I was, I
not throw
took
up,
pictures.
yeah.
Trust me, it's awful.
All right.
It wasn't,
If he's
it's,
been there 2 or 3 years, he's failing. It's
that,
he's failing.
that whole thing needs to be rethought.
Yep.
There's a generational poverty
politician.
going on in that building, is that I was interviewing residents, there are great-grandchildren now coming to that building whose great-grandparents
Yep.
were born
called
there.
the
And
system.
yeah, so there's a lot of challenges. It's not just enough to provide housing, you have to provide a way out of that housing.
Yep.
And I'm not sure that piece has really been implemented for a number of reasons, way more than we would have time to go into here. But it is a hot
But you
spot.
have some attitudinal problems that society is allowed to exist. Fred Bahu told me a story about a student at Greater Lowell Tech who was ready to go out on the work program. And so he took the papers home for his parents to sign them, and the parents said, "We don't do that kind of thing." So they were living in subsidized housing and living a subsidized life. And we have to turn that kind of thing around,
Yes.
or it's going to hurt us a lot. And it shows up and it's not just Lowell. I mean,
It's a lot of
Tewksbury having
Right.
8% turnout for their local elections, and Tingsboro a 3%, that's indicative of a serious problem. But where it impacts me one way is in my wallet. We dropped $940 million last year on the homeless issue. That's a lot of money. I mean, they're projecting 1.8 billion for the last 2 years of the office, and then we dropped another $98.7 million on helping people to move out of housing. So I'm not sure we can afford this the way we're doing it.
Well, I think housing. For instance, in Detroit, we don't have a homeless problem like we have here in Lowell. And I compare Detroit to Lowell in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Post-industrial city, working class.
Excuse me, I'm insulted, but go ahead.
Well, the population of Detroit went down so
Yeah, from almost 2 million
much,
to
too.
600,000, right.
Yes, so
But they
that's-
have houses.
Yep.
And so.
They have abundance of houses.
We have a homeless problem in Detroit, but it's not in the downtown, because they could just squat in all those empty houses that nobody else wants to live in. So this is a challenge, and of course, Michigan is 5 times the size of Massachusetts in terms of geography. So there's a lot of competing pressures in Massachusetts. We're a smaller state, we're more densely populated, our city centers are, there's not a lot of room. So the housing is expensive. It's way more affordable. You can get a 5-bedroom house with 4 bathrooms in Detroit for under $500,000.
Yep.
So
You can get a 5-bedroom house, 4 bathrooms for about 300 in Detroit right now.
Well, yeah.
I watched I have a big fan base out of Detroit with my followers. I used to work in Detroit. I
Oh, no
worked in
kidding.
Michigan when I was young. I was a long distance
Okay,
truck
so you
driver.
know, right.
So I know the community in
Right.
Detroit. I love that's a great community.
Right,
in
if you
Detroit.
want to live in Brush Park, you'll have a beautiful Victorian, original woodwork,
Yep.
crown molding, like the works.
Yep.
A Pewabic tile in the kitchens and the bathrooms, but
Yep.
you're living you have to have an electrified
Yep.
fence around your
Yep.
property, and you can't send your kids to school.
Yep.
So you're going to buy a 4-bedroom house for your 5-person family, but you
Yep.
have to pay private school tuition. So, it's because the schools are really hurting.
So Cliff, to get back to you, mental health, yeah, it's a chunk of it. And drugs will cause mental health too. But the drug addiction is clearly and abundantly much more elevated than mental health.
It's the big surface issue.
It's the main issue.
Well, I do think people self-medicate. I think that, speaking to your point, or whoever made that point, is that when you don't have the access to
Melanie, people.
Yeah, they're going to,
It's
I would
not only-
self-medicate if I had to live outside. I mean, I think that's
well,
sort of,
fentanyl will cause you to become homeless. And will
Well,
cause
no
you-
question,
I mean,
right.
I was in prison, right? I've seen people in my cells do drugs. I've seen it firsthand. I have the knowledge. And everybody that's an addict will tell you, John's idea is the best idea. 600 beds are available in Barica. All of my former cellmates would say the same thing. I've never had an addiction problem myself personally, right?
Well, and
say
Sheriff
tough love
Katujian-
is needed with fentanyl and meth. We're not talking about alcohol. We're talking about, like, a little child can just brush up against it. and
I
touch
don't
it
know about that. I'd have to
and die.
fact check that, but I
I
do know
will
that,
fact check it. Look at that Los Angeles police officer almost died.
Yeah,
He turned
that-
his gloves the wrong way inside out. He didn't do protocol.
we did
and he
extensive
almost
reporting
died.
on that because that was
You can-
alleged in Billerica and that was disproven. But
Okay,
that's for
I am
another day.
100% positive.
For another
enough to
day,
fact
for
check
another
it.
day, because we
You
got to
can
move
die by
on. We're
touching
running
that.
out of time.
You can die by touching it.
We're like spin off in so many directions, but.
We get to light and fluffy at 7:50.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Peter, Sheriff
kidding.
Katujian does have a really robust drug treatment program in the Billerica and mental health. He's like a model. In fact, he was behind the Middlesex Restoration Center, which is trying to open up there on Drum Hill. So he's been a real leader in that, not only in his jail system, but, recognized leader in the country, and now trying to extend that into the private, not private, but, the nonprofit sector.
Well, how's the Bridge Club doing in this area?
Well, I think what you're running into, and which really colors this entire conversation, is funding. Because all the funding a lot of the funding is being cut because they built a Medicaid and Medicare. And
And
if you
yet-
can't build to that anymore, how are you going to provide those services? So I haven't heard a good conversation about how that's going to happen.
What do you think, David?
Well, I think the people that show up to the meetings in that community are doing a lot better than if you're not getting like a lot of these other social services.
Eileen, can you read this
Right.
one?
If you have boots on the ground and you have real people that are going through with what you're going through, heroin addicts and fentanyl, let's face it, it's not really heroin anymore. We shouldn't even call them heroin addicts, we should call them fentanyl addicts.
Oh, yeah, heroin is like
Well,
so
Eileen, can I read this?
1980s.
Yeah, you can't even get heroin.
Okay, my
anymore.
children, Eileen's going to read this.
All right, hit it, Eileen.
That area has been a drug haven for decades. Maybe it's time for the DEA to get involved. That's
Well, I think Chief...
over the cliff.
Yeah, Chief Hooten would maybe bristle at that. There's a lot of federal, get the feds involved, on a local level. I think this is where that would be, I applaud the reader or the viewer for sending that in, but that's
Yeah,
a
wait.
much bigger conversation.
I say
Do we-
absolutely, yes. Get the federal, get the DEA involved.
Do we have an FBI office in Lowell?
I don't believe so, no. I don't think we have any federal.
Near Lowe's?
there. It is near Lowe's, and
Oh,
I
is
know
it?
there's ones behind the Irish Cottage in Methuen.
And Brian O'Keefe, if you're watching this, you work for them, get them involved. We need all the help we can.
So you don't know about any DEA people around here?
There's that big one that just opened. DEA moved its headquarters from Boston to Bedford. Huge, hundreds of people. Took over the entire office park. So there's a DEA presence like 8 miles from here.
I did a lot of work for the Bridge Club of Greater Lowell when it
Oh, no
first
kidding.
opened. And when everything shut down, and he essentially had to go virtual, but it's just so sad.
No, he said he stayed open. Yeah.
But we put a lot of the meetings online. I guess
Oh, I
I
see.
helped him with that mostly,
Yeah.
like getting the virtual piece going. And he started, the recovery coach program and a lot of great programs.
Reentry
Reentry
program.
for
right,
recidivism.
right,
Yeah,
yep.
and Barica House Correction, helping to get people
Amazon,
jobs.
right.
But it's, when everyone goes back out to the streets a little, the Bridge Club kind of loses the impact, right? The meetings are
When they're
always
not tethered.
there.
Yeah,
Right, the
yeah.
meetings are always there, and everybody is, great there, but if they don't want it,
Cliff, FBI is in Lowell. Doesn't it?
A satellite office? Oh, they're probably co-located with the Middlesex Sheriff's Office, maybe?
No.
northern portion.
Where are they?
You know where Lowe's is?
Yeah,
Just east of Lowe's, there's a place you can go to get surgical procedures, colonoscopies and things like that.
The
It's a tall
FBI is
building.
there?
They're several floors up.
Yeah, that jives.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, that building, several
Clean
stories
you out.
up. is the
Okay,
FBI.
interesting. Okay.
So,
Well, I'm sure they're itching to get in here. I mean, I think that the city leaders would have to have a conversation about what that would look like when that happens. I mean,
It's just
people-
another stall. We have the solution, force the solution. We have the solution. Take them off the street, run them out to Billerica, Contusion's an expert, get them the help they need, and let's move on.
Okay, so.
I agree with you, John.
So
100%
Sheriff,
So
agree with
Eileen's
you.
gonna read this.
The
okay,
sheriff-
Eileen, I've been dumped for you, so go ahead.
That's okay, I get dumped for you sometimes.
all right, just read.
The sheriff's restoration program is modeled from something San Antonio, Texas did, named after Robert Jimenez.
Yeah, this commission, which is I'm super impressed. I'm not usually impressed by governmental programs because I think really, it's a lot of frou-frou stuff and a lot of glad handing. But this commission really did their homework, and they've spent about 5 years doing it. They traveled to Minnesota, Texas. The viewer is absolutely right. They had some model programs already in motion.
Corey Robinson sent that in.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is that he's well aware of the Restoration Center work then, because they're not creating something new. They're adopting a model that has a track record.
Cliff, you got 5 minutes
can
left.
get
You
it
wanna
over.
go to light and fluffy or just keep going?
We need to keep going because
He's
we
got
we are
25
facing
pages.
a fundamental problem, and I don't think that our politicians are capable, philosophically capable of solving it. Now, I don't wish to be categorized with those who hate the city manager, but we do need, I think we need to change of direction, but it flows through the whole housing issue all the way out to the fact that redlining has been a major bad issue for blacks in Massachusetts and in the United States.
Explain to the audience what you mean by redlining, please.
Redlining is you couldn't get a loan to buy a house because they were going to keep blacks out.
Okay,
Well,
switching over,
right.
Melanie, read this one.
Oh, thanks, John. DEA has space in Lowell.
Oh,
Good, yeah, I guess.
So-
But their headquarters are in Bedford.
I've seen the vehicle driving around.
Yeah.
And it does drive around the park, so that's a good sign.
But what we have is state and local governments trying to keep the federal government out. Look at
ICE.
the
Look at ICE.
illegal immigrant thing, ICE, yeah. But I want to give David a chance to recapitulate, and he's only got 3 minutes left.
He's a fast talker. 1, 2, 3,
Yeah,
2,
2,
1,
3,
go
2,
David.
All right, so I started social media about 10 months ago, and it's increased. It's starting to become very successful. And when I started, it wasn't for the reasons of stopping drugs and Lowell and all that, but I went for a drive, took my parents for a ride about close to
where
a
do you
year
live?
ago. I live in Lowell, Mass, I live in
Oh, okay.
Islands. And we went by the South Common Park, and I was with my mother, Gail, and my father, Mickey, who was late-stage dementia. A lot of people watching this know I care for my dad. And there were people shooting up, and my mother looked over, and her eyeballs increased. And I looked at the Elliott Church, and I said, and she said, "This is the city I grew up in." Now, it has gotten better, and I think the city leaders have done a better job, and they're increasing it. But there are 3 or 4 blocks of Lowell that need to be addressed, not here, not there, not for a moment, every second for a good chunk of time. Changes need to be made. So I've said it, ground zero is the Bishop Markham. And if everyone had seen the videos, it's pretty obvious. One side of Bishop Markham is on the South Common Park, and then you have one side is Appleton Street, then the other side is Central Street, and the other side is Highland here, with a school where kids go. So there's a 200-meter, 300-meter radius around Bishop Markham. Bishop Markham is ground zero. I figured this out from being boots in the ground
60
walking,
seconds.
right? So we need to address this, right? This is a drug problem, not a homeless issue as much as it is a homeless issue. We need to get the drugs out, The community needs to band together because the government can't do it by themselves. This week, I'll announce where we're going to have a citizen meeting at a coffee shop. I want normal Joes like myself to show up. Let's game plan. Let's get involved in the community because this is a community run by the people too. All right, and that's it. Let's just make this a better place. There's a lot to like about Lowell, but we can do better, and we are doing better.
And show up where?
I'll name it, I'll pick a coffee shop. I want to make sure the coffee's good. So I'll pick a coffee shop.
Make sure you let John know too, so he can put it up in his announcements.
Okay, yeah, excellent.
There is no such thing as good coffee.
Oh, God.
Let's say goodbye, kids. Everybody wave bye-bye. We're leaving.
Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Because this is a community run by the people too. All right, and that's it. Let's just make this a better place. There's a lot to like about Lowell, but we can do better, and we are.